super solid.
You can use a block plane on it?
You can block plane it. It doesn't come off in shave. Well, it does sort of shave.
I'm kind of flabbergasted about this.
It's wild, man. It's just like wood.
I'm terrified to try that, but
It kind of polishes the underside of your block plane while you're using it too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd like to see what that looks like.
Hey guys, welcome back for another episode of the Fine Homebuilding Podcast, live from the Builders Show in Las Vegas. I'm Justin Fink, Editorial Director of Fine Homebuilding and Green Building Advisor, and we are here today at the Boral booth. I'm sitting here with a good friend of ours, Mr. Ben Bogie, builder from Portland, Maine.
hello.
And we also have two guests from Boral. We have Scott and, Ben. Sorry.
Yeah, another Ben.
Yeah, two Bens. I should have remembered that. Both Scott and Ben are in the trim and siding. So, you guys prefer siding and trim? Siding and trim category of Boral. Mm-hmm. So, can you guys tell me a little bit about what we're releasing at the show today? What new products you have?
Sure, absolutely. So from our TrueExterior line, we have a new reversible shiplap nickel gap board. So what's really new about this board is there's a wood grain pattern on our nickel gap siding that we didn't have before.
You had some kind of like a brushed finish before, right?
Yeah, it was just a smooth finish, but on our shiplap we actually had the wood grain and the smooth finish.
Okay.
So we've added the wood grain to the nickel gap line. The other thing that we did was we took our rabbited edge that we had for our shiplap, we integrated that and just made it a little little lighter tolerance there to set off that nickel gap finish.
Okay.
So it can be a reversible board. It goes together really well.
And for people who have never worked with TrueExterior before, it's you guys refer to it as a poly ash, which is essentially like a fly ash based material, right? It's kind of the core of it. I think a lot of people put it in the rough comparison to fiber cement, although there's a lot of difference in terms of what this does that doesn't do, and one of them is crisp edges, another is long lengths.
Correct. So you hear that quite frequently, what we can do with the category. The other one is MDF that they think it looks like.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yep,
when you kind of turn that over to the side. But yes, poly ash category, it's kind of like mixing fly ash and Gorilla Glue.
Right, yes, exactly.
With a proprietary blend of polymers.
We actually just used it on a project. Ben uses it almost exclusively.
We use it almost exclusive.
Yeah. Sorry I interrupted you though. So nickel gap.
Yep. So that's a new for TrueExterior.
Okay.
And then for our Versetta line, we have new color Northern Ash.
But I guess we should point out Boral owns a lot of things.
They do.
Yeah.
We do. We have a lot of brands. We're a big house of brands. So
Yes.
Yeah.
Versetta stone, which is like a manufactured stone product, right?
That's right. Stone siding.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And,
so a couple
you
new
guys
colors
also,
there.
You do roofing.
We do roofing, yeah. So if we want to talk real quick about like what happened 30 months ago, Boral basically purchased a company called Headwaters. Unlike that, they had very similar products to what Boral did. Mm-hmm. We had a roofing division. We had own cultured stone. We had what we call the light building products featuring our Versetta and our TrueExterior product. Then we integrated another company. They owned Eldorado Stone. So now we have Culture Stone, Eldorado Stone, the two top brands. We have a roofing division with some composite roofing materials, clay and concrete, some coated steel roofing as well. We have a brick division that we're partners with, and then of course we have Boral Building Products, which integrates a lot of the Tapco brands, Mid-America, Sturdy Mount.
Hey, what did you refer
Foundry.
to it as? A light building material? Is that what it was?
So we call it light building, more like siding, cladding type materials, because it's poly ash is not a big heavy stone, and it was siding. So we call the division light building products.
I asked because it's like a lot of what you guys do is powders that are condensed and glued into stuff. Yeah. So like, what do you call that? What is that category?
It's new. I mean, that's why I call it
really
poly ash,
is.
because there was no technical term for it. Our innovation center, they spent like 5 years in R&D trying to figure out what we could do with the basic fly ash material. So it's a byproduct, right? It goes into a lot of different stuff. So they, I always say some mad chemical engineers and scientists basically made this putty, get a chemical reaction, it kind of foams up and blows like using Gorilla Glue, and then we put it in a mold and we spit out a board.
So that's how it actually happens. It actually is like extruded. It expands and extrudes. That's very cool.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And we started off with trim. Typically guys start with a siding and then they make a trim. We started off with trim, went to market with it, and then we realized what the capabilities were with it. Obviously you guys have seen it and worked with it. So started making sidings, and we're going to continue to come out with new stuff.
Ben, what made you land on using it exclusively?
We're trying to avoid using plastics because we're trying to be as carbon conscious as we can with our buildings, and as ecologically conscious with our buildings as possible. And the idea of using a product that's pretty benign because it comes from a waste stream product is something that attracts us. We do like to use wood, if we can, but wood naturally has maintenance issues, and a lot of our clients nowadays are looking for lower maintenance products, and we're also seeing more water contact issues with ground contact, trim interfaces, and roofs and stuff like that. So we're looking for a durable product that's not poisoning the environment in the process.
And the learning curve is pretty flat too. It's not.
Yeah, it works just like wood. That's something we love about it. Last week before I came here, I was running through several hundred feet of making custom moldings out of Boral base stock.
I'd say when I talk to contractors, probably the biggest learning curve is handling it, because there's 16-foot lengths. I mean, you can't pick it up in the middle and just go flap it like a big wing. So, but once you get past that,
yeah, we just did a building where we just did a building where we used the integrated skirt board profile and then the siding and the trim, and we did a real complicated trim detail. It's going to be the next issue of Fine Homebuilding, actually. And you can use a block plane on it. It was like treated it just like wood, polyurethane glue for those joints, and it was super solid.
You can use a block plane on it?
You can block plane it. It doesn't come off in shave. Well, it does sort of shave.
I'm kind of flabbergasted about this.
It's wild, man. It's just like wood.
I'm terrified to try that, but
it kind of polishes the underside of your block plane while you're using it too.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'd like to see what that looks like.
So that was that the whole list of stuff that you guys were releasing at the show?
That's a new product.
Okay.
Like I say, we have some other colors. So in our grain line, we have 2 new colors, a rustic slate and a mountain ash.
Okay.
So the rustic slate's more of the bluish gray that we're seeing in those darker tones that more people are looking for. And then the mountain ash is more white.
Okay.
So it's like the darks and the whites are really coming back. So we're trying to keep that on trend.
Okay. And do you guys offer pre-finished trim and siding products, or is it all... And I guess the follow-up to that is it primed when it comes to me? There was some question when I was using it. Is there a primer on this, or am I just looking at the kind of the outer layer of the extrusion?
Yeah, there is a primer on the TrueExterior.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
But no pre-finished siding.
There are some markets that have pre-finishers that will take the TrueExterior and they will pre-finish it, for specific jobs or developers.
I know through our market we have that option.
You do, yeah.
Our distributor will send it out to a pre-finishing company.
So it's not done through Boral.
Correct.
Yeah.
No.
Yep.
Now, what about if I want to just get it in raw, some kind of raw sizes? Like to be able to do, let's say, a historic molding or something. Is that available?
Yeah, so not through us, but we do partner with someone called Duration Millwork.
Oh, yeah, I know them, yep.
Yeah, and they actually take our product and they make all custom moldings and whatnot out of that. So it's all available through them.
I believe they're still doing clapboard siding, right? Lap siding?
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
They are. Yeah, he
Cool
makes
look.
some amazing stuff.
We use their product. And I think what Justin was getting at is like base stock sizes. So I buy Boral, depending on what we're making, up to 2x material, 8/4 material, 2x6, 2x8.
Yeah.
Normally I'm working out of stuff like that.
And there's no problem
breaking it down.
laminating it too, right? I mean, can I take 2 pieces and glue them up?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes. Yep.
Okay, and you guys recommend polyurethane glue?
Yes.
Is there anything I have to worry about? Maybe, Ben, you have feedback on this. When I was working with it most recently, I started to question whether it was a good idea to kind of wet the joints before using polyurethane glue, because polyurethane glue is a moisture-curing adhesive, and anybody who's worked with Boral, I mean, it's very dry. It's like you pick it up and you can feel the moisture being sucked out of your body into the trim. So I was just curious, are we starving these glue joints? Do you guys recommend anything specific when working with it?
I don't. Most of the contractors, builders that I've worked with in the past, I mean, a couple dabs like a Gorilla Glue polyurethane glue type material works fantastic. Obviously, you're going to get a little seepage out of that joint. High-end homes, a lot of guys are scarf jointing that. Once you get the fastener in there, bubbles up, hardens up, chisel it off, paint it.
I can throw a little feedback into that. A winter or two ago, we were doing a lot of pre-assembled exterior window casings, and it was low temperatures. We were using PL products, like a thicker construction adhesive, because we didn't want to deal with the foaming in the joint. So we were wetting the insides of the joints with a domino connection at that point, because we were finding we were just getting a little bit faster setup and having to handle the pieces a little bit sooner.
Yeah, I noticed working in the cold, it was slowed down quite a bit with how much clamping time you needed for complicated things. Yeah. But I've never tried laminating. That sounds cool. I kind of want to do that now. And there's a lot of. Are there other tips? Because Scott, you're like a regional.
Regional manager.
Regional manager. So I'm guessing you're pretty well connected to what guys are experiencing in the field. Are there things that is kind of like your frequently asked questions list, or like the things you can bring to the table that, like for instance, the gluing it and the handling it? We also experienced like. When you go to fill the fastener holes and you putty them, now you have a little bit of an issue with you trying to make it blend. And we discovered that really coarse sandpaper with the grain tends to make that brush finish just kind of blend right in.
Yeah, there are some other products out there. I know Cortex, Fastmaster makes a Cortex plug system that has worked well in some cases. I've seen a lot of different finishes, down to the point where I'm, could say it looks like my 9-year-old painted and finished that product because it looks sloppy. I've seen other ones where I literally cannot find the nail holes, and I saw it being installed, so I know that they're there. It's a wide variety. Obviously, we do with a lot of stuff. A lot of different contractors, and skill levels with this. Obviously, your first couple times working with any product, you're going to have some variances. We like to help coach people through, so I talk to a lot of contractors on a weekly basis, so does my team, about different tips and tricks. There isn't really a whole lot to this other than the handling, but your first couple times through, we want to make sure you're setting your nail gun at a certain distance so you're not blasting through the material.
Yep,
right?
I experienced that.
So, and then you're not using a bunch of different extra putty to fill those holes. Different putties work differently in different environments. You might get up into the Spokane, Washington, or the Northeast, and you might like working with different products better than others. So,
is there other learning curve stuff that you have run into, Ben? And the expansion and contraction is
no,
pretty much non-existent.
That's one of the things that we love about it too. Yeah, I think it's just the handling thing. Once you get used to it, that becomes really prevalent in the larger, thicker material pieces. Handling those by yourself can be troublesome.
Yes.
I shattered a couple last week
and
trying to do it by myself.
The 2x12 gets really heavy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You got to kind of carry it on edge.
Exactly.
For sure.
So where do you guys come down, or what's kind of the official stance on the material itself? And are we doing dust masks? How much do we have to be concerned about? It's very, very fine dust. It's almost like, you mentioned MDF.
Yeah.
Dust is similar to that.
Almost, yeah.
Except it's a little sandier.
A little grittier, yeah, a little grittier.
So I'm like, just some concerns about, is it rough on my tools? Like, do I need to blow the motor out with the compressed air on my miter saw after, that kind of thing?
Yeah, you'll definitely want to make sure you blow your tools out.
Okay.
As good as it cuts and as easy as it cuts, it is an abrasive material.
Yeah.
So, after you did a job or whatnot, that saw blade, you probably want to toss that out and not do any really nice trim work after.
We have dedicated tooling that we dedicate directly to Boral. We have whole saw kits.
Yep.
We have circular saw blades, chop saw blades, all that stuff.
Take it off, right Boral on it.
Exactly.
And save it.
Sharpie marker Boral across the side of it.
I hear that a lot with the contractors. Like, we just keep that tool set up specifically for cutting Boral.
Yeah.
It will continue to cut Boral forever, it seems like. I should say TrueExterior because Boral is a big company.
Yes,
but
sorry, that's
so
my fault. I started that.
It's okay. In the West Coast, they call it the Boral. And I go, guys, it's called TrueExterior. Can we get back to calling it? But
another thing in that same vein is you can take the dullest, nastiest old saw blade on your job site and it'll cut like a laser.
Right through.
So I usually will just stick aside beat up wood saw blades.
That's a good idea.
Those are what I use for the Boral blades.
It's kind of the second life for the retired saw blades.
Yeah, they just keep singing.
They do.
It might be the smoothest cutting material I've ever experienced. Like maybe red cedar might have it trumped, but that's about it.
Have you played with Delrin?
No. Smoother?
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
I thought MDF was pretty good, but then I tried to rip Boral, and I was like, geez.
I used to have guys ask me if we had a special blade on it. I go, no, this is basically came right out of the DeWalt blade right off the shelf.
The worst blade you can get, trust me.
Yeah.
So what about the dust? Just in terms of health. I understand the tool maintenance, that makes sense.
Yeah, so we always recommend, if we're in a situation with a lot of dust, you want to wear a respirator, just to make sure to keep the particles out of your throat and out of your lungs and whatnot. So it's just a good practice.
Okay.
Does it fall under the silica guidelines?
It's actually like 12 times less than out of a fiber cement. So we'll tell you wear like a dust mask as opposed to like wearing, a heavy duty respirator or something like that. It's classified as a nuisance dust, which is pretty much what everything else falls under.
Okay, so it's not so much a health concern beyond just breathing in particulate.
Correct.
Yeah, okay.
Correct.
Okay, and something in that same vein you talked about, the tool maintenance. It is good to blow your tools out the end of the day, but it's not great to do it with like a compressed air gun from your compressor.
You can blow it into it.
Because it actually drives the abrasive material into the bearings.
Super.
It's better to use.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Yep. Me too for a couple of years. Just use we use a cordless leaf blower, like a little mechanical cordless thing. Yeah, exactly.
Much gentler air.
It's a good tip.
Say goodbye to yourself.
Yeah. Not only that, but as you're talking, I'm going, and I'm also blowing moisture from the air compressor into the most sensitive parts of the tool.
In there,
You wanted new tools anyways,
a little rusty fly ash mixture inside my motors.
Sure.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, boy. Well, anything else you guys want to go over?
I don't think so, unless there's, is there anything else we want to talk about? If you guys work with the Versetta Stone and kind of see the simplicity?
I don't know, Ben, you never used the Versetta Stone, have you?
I haven't, no. I kind of test drove the grain launch a couple of years ago.
Okay.
We did some work with that when you guys first launched
And the
it.
Versetta Stone is, it's stone, but it's on kind of a fastening panel. I'm not trying to describe it.
Yeah, so it's basically culture stone into a panelized setup. So it's designed not to take business away from our culture stone, Eldorado stone business, but it allows us to get out of the masonry realm. I think the average age of a mason now is like, I don't know, 56, 57, something like that, getting older. It's a trade that might be going away a little bit. This allows for your DIYer, your framer, your sider, journeyman laborman to actually go put this up, because it's just fastened with basically a screw gun.
Yep, we used it as kind of a faux foundation, like dressing up the edge of a wood frame. It was super easy to work with. I mean, you have an angle grinder, and that's about all you need.
Yeah, we typically use like an inexpensive 10-inch sliding miter and just put a diamond blade on it.
Yeah.
We've had contractors actually build out in California using 2x12 for treated retaining walls and just purchase stone, and they make it look like a $40,000 stone retaining wall.
So, but then you raise an interesting question with because it's really expensive, and I don't mean just you guys.
Yeah.
I mean this whole category of the faux stone. Why is it so pricey? Is it so intensive to manufacture, or is it the shipping cost that really crushes everybody?
It is.
There's a little of both.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, you guys are in good company. Luckily, it's not just one company is jacked the price, but I mean, it's not insignificant.
Yeah.
There's a reason stone quarries were regional.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Fair point.
Yeah.
Correct. Right. And this is a lightweight aggregate, right? So we're not, we get into certain markets. I might get up into a Lake Tahoe market, right? I don't think there's anything being built less than, I don't know how many millions of dollars, but they're going to use like real stone.
Right.
Then you get down into far where there might be using masonry. They might have radius edges. They want to match fireplaces and fire pits outside or interior work. And then you get down into something where you might be looking at the speed of install on this, and you get into maybe a colder climate where you're dealing with freeze-thaw, mixing masonry. I just got back from Spokane, Washington, and developers were spending about $10,000 a month in propane just to heat up the exterior so that the mason can get the siding on.
And then the moisture risks that come with fully applied masonry on the outside of buildings.
Right.
And it gets down to 3 degrees at night.
I mean, having played with it, it is very fast, and it's designed well. Like, it looks like you guys. So it's just like the TrueExterior, where you feel like, all right, you can pay for this because it feels like you're paying for something worth it.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think the look of stone is the perceived value is like 8 to 10% increase on your home.
Right.
With using stone on it. This allows you to do a 3-4 course wainscot sale pretty quickly.
Right. Yep.
So great for remodels as well.
Super cool.
Yeah.
Well, you guys have a massive booth. What's the booth number here?
4519, I believe it is.
4519, and you guys are here through the end of the week, so people can.
We are. Yeah.
People can swing by and check you out. Awesome.
Yep. Absolutely.
Scott, Ben, thank you so much for sitting in with us.
Thank you, guys. Much appreciated.
Appreciate it.
And we'll catch you guys in the next episode.
Look forward to it.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thank you.
Yep, thanks.